So you have a little one who's learning how to write their letters, and you're wondering, should I have them start with uppercase letters or lowercase letters? Well, I am glad you are here. My name is Erin. I'm from littleslovelearning.com, and I wanted to share with you why I think you should teach your little one how to write in uppercase letters before you teach them how to write in lowercase letters. Now, when you Google this topic, there are going to be hundreds of opinions from lots of different professionals, early childhood educators, occupational therapists, you name it, everyone has an opinion on this topic. But I wanted to share with you why I teach my children at home and my students to write in uppercase letters first before I introduce lowercase letters. The first reason I think you should start with uppercase letters is because they are less sophisticated than lowercase letters. All uppercase letters start in the same spot at the top. They occupy the same vertical space from the top to the bottom. They're all the same height, and they're much easier to differentiate compared to lowercase letters such as B and D and P and Q. Uppercase letters are much easier for our little ones to start with because their hands are not quite ready for these complicated, sophisticated strokes of lowercase letters. Not to mention, a lot of products are uppercase letters that are geared for our little ones. So they're seeing these uppercase letters probably more often. A lot of logos and brands will use uppercase letters. If you have your little one's name up in their room, it might be in all uppercase letters. It's just something that they're very comfortable and familiar with. Now, I don't think that you should only teach your little one uppercase letters when you're teaching them to identify the letters of the alphabet. I think they should be able to identify upper and lower. But what I'm talking about is actually writing it themselves, physically writing it with a pencil. I think you should start with uppercase letters. Now, once your little one has mastered these uppercase letters, then it is great for them to move on to the lowercase letters. These lowercase letters are going to be much trickier for them, but they can get it with practice and repetition and with explicit instruction. What we don't want to happen is for our little ones to look at a lowercase letter and try to figure out how to create that letter. This is what's referred to as drawing a letter instead of writing a letter. When our little ones draw a letter, they are not following the correct pencil strokes. They are looking at the letter and trying to figure out how they can recreate it on their paper. This leads to a lot of little ones starting at the bottom and going to the top. It can lead them to have extra pencil strokes, such as for the letter A, to have a circle and then have a line coming down. It can lead to a lot of problems later on because their handwriting is not fluent. It's very slow and laborious, and they might not even make the same letter the same way every time. They're just trying to recreate what they see with what they're doing on their paper. So it's really important to move on to lowercase letters when they're ready, when physically their hand is ready, and when you can explicitly teach them the strokes. They are much more likely to draw a letter if they haven't been given the explicit instructions from you, the parent, or the educator. So you want them to be able to write the letters, meaning they use the correct pencil strokes, the least amount of pencil strokes, the pencil strokes that we have been taught that is going to help them have fluent handwriting as they get older and they have to write a lot more. So what does that mean for name writing? That's always the biggest question. Some people will say to me, yes, I'm totally on board with teaching uppercase letters, but I'm going to teach them how to write their name in lowercase letters because that's what they need to do to get to kindergarten. Okay, here are my thoughts on that. There is a difference between starting with the end goal and starting with the end goal in mind. So what do I mean by that? We know the end goal is to have our little ones writing their name conventionally, starting with an uppercase letter and the rest lowercase. Ideally, we want that to happen by kindergarten. That's our end goal. But that's not where we want to start with our 3 and 4-year-olds. We don't want to start them with what we want them to be doing when they're 5. We want to back it up. We want to start with the end goal in mind. We know where we want them to go, but we have to back up to get there. The first step of writing their name conventionally is not writing their name conventionally. I like to use the analogy of running a marathon. We know that a marathon runner is going to be running 26.2 miles. That's their end goal. When they go out for day 1 of training, are they running 26.2 miles? Of course not. They have to build up to that mileage. They have to build up their endurance and stamina. The same thing is true for our kids. We don't want to start them writing their name conventionally because that's the end goal. We want to back it up. We want to start with a lot of fine motor development, a lot of gross motor development actually impacts handwriting. And then when we're actually teaching them how to write their name, we want to start with those uppercase letters. We want them to get the hang of that, to work on those pencil strokes, and that is going to help them feel so confident and so proud of themselves. Then, when the time is right, and it's different for every little one, but if you want to gently be guiding them toward this before they get to kindergarten, the fall of their kindergarten year, that's great. Try to transition them beforehand. But you don't want to start this so young. When they are 2 and 3, they are not ready to be writing their name in all lowercase letters, usually. Every child is different, but you really want to be tuned in to your child or your students in your classroom and think, am I starting with the end goal, or am I starting with the end goal in mind, working my way backwards so that I know how to get them there in a couple of years? The other thing I wanted to mention about handwriting when your little one is practicing their pencil strokes is you want them to have the appropriate pencil. So this is my favorite kind of pencil. It is a little golf pencil. It does have an eraser, but this is wonderful because our little ones, they have little hands. So when they use a big pencil that's tall, or they use a big, chunky, fat crayon or marker, it encourages them to grip it with their whole hand instead of having the appropriate pencil grip. So when you use little tools like this, they're much more likely to grip it correctly and not develop that bad habit of gripping it in a way that is uncomfortable, that can cause hand fatigue, that can make it really hard for them to write fluently later on. So make sure that you're looking for little pencils like this. You can also break your crayons in half, anything that is small. I always remember, small tools for small hands. If you are looking for a way to have your little one practice their name, I have another video about that I will link below. It gives you some tips on how to help your little one learn their name. But I also have these great name writing practice sheets that they can use. These are editable, so if your little one is working conventionally on writing their name, great, but you can also type their name in all uppercase letters up here so they can learn how to spell it, and down here so they can trace it. Then you can have them build their name, and then you can have them write their name on their own. These are really great to put in plastic sheet protectors. They can use a dry erase marker to write their name every day or every couple of days. You want to look for dry erase markers that are not those thick, chunky ones. Try to find smaller ones and shorter ones if you can. I have a few that are amazing, so I'll see if I can find those to link below. But practicing their name on here consistently throughout the month is going to help them learn how to write it. Especially great for the summer before kindergarten. If you're worried about your little one entering prepared, you can definitely make sure to practice their name. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it gave you something to think about when it comes to teaching your little one how to write their alphabet. Again, this video is just about handwriting development and writing their alphabet. I believe when you're teaching your little ones letter names and the sounds that are represented by those letters, that it's important to introduce uppercase and lowercase. I'm just talking about physically writing it with a pencil because that handwriting development is on a different continuum than learning the alphabet, the alphabetic principle, and learning how to read. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can comment below. You can find me over on my website, littleslovelearning.com. I would love to chat more with you about this. Have a great day. Bye.